All right, so what he's singing about is reminding us of who we really are. Have you asked yourself lately who you are? Did you know that you have been in the process, the evolution, over millennia of being here, that you emanate from the very mind of God? Sometimes people ask me, where are you from? Because they think maybe I'm not originally from Hawaii. I don't know. And I thought, how do they know? So a number of times I've said to them, well, I am from the mind of God. And they kind of take a breath and they look at me and like, well, more recently, like, and so all of us emanate from the mind of God. All of us are that presence of God that has expressed itself just as you, millennia, have gone into the creation of who you are. So you are no small stuff. You are dynamite, As I mentioned last week, the Greek word for power in the Christian scriptures, the Greek New Testament, is dunamis, from which we get the word dynamite. You are God dynamite in action. You are here to shake things up. And you are here to express the divine as you. But a lot of us get caught up in error, get caught up in the dream. And we are looking today at... This happened last time. Okay. Let us wake up together. All right, let us wake up together. I mean, it's wonderful to wake up and to be refreshed, and it's wonderful for all of us to awaken spiritually to who we really are, that we are the presence of God in action. When we recognize that, then we recognize there is no such thing as separation. There is no such thing as lack or limitation. There is nothing that separates us from our highest and best good if all of the presence of God is fully living forth as me and as you right now. What can hold us back? That's what you really are. Now, waking up, I like this picture, illumination, spiritual understanding. The power of the month is understanding, signified by the color gold, the Apostle Thomas. Understanding, spiritual understanding. We're not just talking about cerebral head knowledge. Lord knows we have enough of that. I'm talking about heart knowledge, where we really know that we know from our depths what reality and truth is. Because we are that Christ presence here living itself as us, and so all wisdom, all understanding is available to us. Now, waking up is not always fun. When I was a child, I would sometimes want to sleep in. It wasn't always that important to me that it was a school day. And I thought, wow, why do kids have it so hard? We have to get up for school every day, and adults do what they want, but we have to wake up for school. And I found out later, adults wake up then to work and do other things. But my mom would come in and say, Timmy, it's time to get up. It's time to wake up. Get up. You've got to get ready for school. I don't want to go to school. It's time to wake up. I'm going to give you 1 minute, which I really love that 1 minute, to get up, get going, brush your teeth, clean up, get ready for school. Waking up isn't always pleasant. Have you ever been in a dream and you thought the dream was real? Have you? You really thought that what you were living and experiencing was real. Some of you may not remember your dreams, but yeah, those of us who do a lot of lucid, vivid dreaming. One day I was outside this apartment complex, and this man came running through the apartments, and he was holding this bag, and he kept looking behind him. And he's holding this bag, and he's looking behind him, and he trips, and the bag goes, and I'm thinking, this guy has stolen this bag. and he's looking for the person who lost their bag that he took from. And this is my opportunity to grab the bag and to fend him off and wait till that person shows up so I can give them back their bag, you know. And I picked up the bag while he was still down on the ground, and I could feel a wallet in it. And I thought, is he going to get up to fight? Is he going to run away? And he got up, and he was ready to fight. And so I was ready to fight. And I was wondering, am I going to be able to defend this bag until the owner shows up? And then I heard this voice, Tim, why are you shaking? Tim, wake up. Tim, what's wrong? Are you okay? And it was my wife's voice. This was a couple of days ago. I mean, it was so real. I was ready to fight. And I was getting ready to fight right there in bed, you know. And I woke her up in the process, and she's trying to figure out what's wrong with me. I didn't know if you thought I was having a seizure or something, but I was like, you know, I was ready to go at it. Now, I was upset for a couple of reasons. For one reason, because I wanted to keep sleeping. And with all the time changes and stuff, our biological clocks have just been messed up. And so I was ready to sleep in, and then I got woke up. The second reason was I wanted to find out what happened. I wanted to find out, was I able to hold the guy off? Was I able to return the bag to the rightful owner? I mean, even after I was awake, I wanted to know how it came out. I went into a little bit of meditation, just meditating and realizing, yeah, I got into a fight. Yeah, I held on to it. But then a thought occurred to me, what if this bag belonged to him? And someone had been chasing him to take it from him. And then I had taken it from him. Maybe I was the bad guy in the dream. You know, a lot of us in our lives are living in a dream. You know, some people say, oh, I'm living the dream. And I tell people, I'm living the dream. I wake up in paradise every morning. You know, and they say, oh, shut up, you know. These are some of my friends that I love back in the Central Time Zone. Love you. So, paradise every morning, Diamond Head, Waikiki Beach, palm trees. Okay. It's so fun. But our lives are sometimes this dream that we need to wake up from because we get caught up in illusion. We get caught up in error thinking. We get caught up in thinking, oh, it's my way or the highway. You know, there's only two ways to do things. My way or the wrong way. And so some of us get caught up into this error thinking. Some of us become very rigid, or we get caught up in our soap opera. You know? Now, okay, here's a confession. There was a time in my life, long, long ago, in a faraway galaxy, where I watched some soap operas, okay? And I'd want to know, what's coming up next? What's coming up next? And then there was like a gap of about 3 months, you know, because I had a life to live. And I thought, well, if I turn back on the soap opera, will I have any idea what's happened? And it's like I hadn't missed a thing. It started up right where I left off, because that's the way soap operas are. Do you get caught up in a soap opera? Or maybe not of your own maybe it's someone else's. And as I've said before, people living in a soap opera want other people to audition for a part. And they want you to join them in the soap opera. Would you like to be the villain? Would you like to be the persecutor? Would you like to be the bad guy? Would you like to be the hero? Would you like to be, you know, whatever? Are you accepting the part in the soap opera? You have a choice. You have a choice about how you live. You have a choice about what it is you make your life about. It's up to you. And when we awaken, we see that we really have the choice. And the key to awakening is spiritual understanding. Spiritual understanding is knowing that I know, knowing from a deep place in me what the truth of me is. And when I know what the truth of me is, I don't have to get all caught up, in the soap opera. Now, I have a number of scriptures here. I don't know. Maybe it's too many. Maybe I won't get through them all. We'll see. Okay, the first one comes from Ephesians chapter 5. These are curious names, right? Ephesians comes from the city of Ephesus. Paul was writing a letter to the believers in Ephesus. The Voice translation is a modern translation through Thomas Nelson Publishers. When the light shines, it exposes even the dark and shadowy things. Now, some of you are going, ooh, I don't know if I want the light then, and turns them into pure reflections of light. This is why they sing, awake, you sleeper, rise from your grave, and the anointed one, that is the Christ, will shine on you. Long, long time ago, I lived in some low-rent apartments. And one of the ways I knew it was a low-rent apartment was that it had multi-generational cockroaches. Some of you, I can see it. You're already getting creeped out. You're like, And do you feel something kind of, anyway. So in this apartment, they would do everything but a nuclear blast, but these things had evolved and they were impervious to any kind of insecticide. And I would turn on the light and you could just see them scatter, and you could do whatever you could to try to, but nope. Now the light did not create the cockroaches. The light just showed them up, right? Well, okay, I'm not comparing our shadow side to cockroaches. But all of us have a shadow side. And when the light comes, it shows up some of those things in us. Maybe some other teacher comes to us. And we find that, whenever I'm around this person, I just want to hit something. Well, maybe that person is our teacher. Maybe they are showing something to us that we need to face and look at and deal with, right? There are opportunity. So when you find something irritating you and agitating you, or something that just makes you cross, maybe it's because something is rising up that shadow side in you for you to embrace it, to look at it, and to learn something from it. So this says, the light shines, it exposes the dark and shadowy things and turns them into pure reflections of light. We transform them, we transmute them. And this is part of the awakening process that happens through the power of spiritual understanding. Instead of judging ourselves and putting ourselves down, none of you do that, right? None of you ever put yourself down or say, why'd I do that, right? But there are those, just take my word for it, there are those who grew up learning to do that, and instead of doing that, why not love ourselves? Why not treat ourselves well? Why not see ourselves as the divine in action and allow ourselves to love and embrace whatever that is and to transform it, transmute it into light? Here's another scripture from Romans 13, verse 11. So, it's Paul's letter to the Romans, okay? And he was in jail at the time, by the way. Paul did some time. And now consider this. You know well the times you are living in. It is time for you to wake up. Yeah? And see what is right before your eyes, for salvation is nearer to us now than when we first believed. I believe this is true now more than ever. It's time to wake up. Our world is getting ready for a big awakening. One of the ways I know that is because of all the polarization, dissension, and argumentation that is going on in our world. That's a sure sign that awakening is around the corner. And you're going, oh, goody. You know, now, okay, at least this lifetime, I've never given birth. But birth is not always a pretty process. Would you agree? I was part of my son's birth, and long labor, and it wasn't fun. And waking up is not always fun either, you know. Giving birth to the true self, our Christ self, is not always easy. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to wake up from our illusion and help each other to wake up. Let's wake up together. So, this whole thing of being in illusion, being in dissension, argumentation, it's chemicalization. How many people here know what chemicalization is? All right. Okay. Emily Cady, in her book Lessons in Truth and all kinds of unity books since then, have talked about the process of chemicalization. Any of you ever have some vinegar and you poured baking soda into it? And what happens? It reacts, it foams, it goes all over my mother's counter. So that's what happened. And that's what chemicalization is. It's when truth encounters error. When truth encounters deeply embedded error thinking. So, when we affirm, and affirm after me, repeat after me, I am the presence of God in action. All right, turn and look at someone close to you. You are the presence of God in action. Now, in some of us, that stirs something up because some of us think, oh, I'm not so sure of that. And our whole world is getting stirred up as we're wanting to evolve and grow and be born into something new. So we're all here to wake up. It's time to wake up. For the time is nearer than when we first believed. Okay, we need the screen lower just a little bit on this, Judy. Thank you, Judy. This comes from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, shloka number 42. I'm not going to read all the Sanskrit to you. But if you look at the second line, that real long word, the first part of it is jnana. Jnana means spiritual understanding or knowledge. And here they break it down, like the second row down, the synonyms. Jnana is knowledge or spiritual understanding. Asana, by the weapon of Atmana. You've probably heard of the Atman, the true self, the highest self. So, spiritual understanding, true knowledge, not talking about cerebral, true knowledge is the weapon that we have within our inner self. And so it says down here at the bottom, the translation, therefore the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. And Bharata was an ancient king, and this was spoken to one of his descendants. Armed with yoga. Now that doesn't mean like we're going to, like, I mean, you can. I mean, yoga is a pathway into awakening, but yoga is not just positions. Yoga is chanting. Yoga is meditation. Yoga is all kinds of spiritual technologies that help us to awaken. And those postures help us when we use those others along with it. They help us to awaken. And the word yoga literally means discipline or yoke. And as this scripture from Jesus in Matthew 11:29 says, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Take my yoke. That English word yoke comes from the Sanskrit word yoga. That's where we get the word yoke. So, read it this way. Take my yoga upon you. Take my yoga upon you. That is, take my spiritual understanding. Take my practice. Take this life of awakening upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Okay, Bhagavad Gita. I study this stuff, you know. I don't just look it up like, oh, what new thing can I bring forward? But, you know, I study this stuff every day, actually. Oops, I'm getting in the way. All right, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, shloka 38. In this world there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of mysticism. And one who has achieved this enjoys the self within himself or herself in due course of time. They're talking about the Atman, the true self, who we really are, the God self. And so Srila Prabhupada, who's the translator, says, when we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. Last line, ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge, or spiritual understanding, is the cause of our liberation. We're here to be liberated. We're here to set ourselves free. We're here to open up and be the Christ presence that we really and truly are. You're much more than you were told. You're much more than you were told. You are God stuff. You are God essence. You are the presence of the divine sitting there. I mean, thousands and thousands of years of wisdom, understanding, power is present right there as you. Did you know that? Yeah, you shout it out. We are awesome stuff. Repeat after me. I am awesome, undefeatable, full of intelligence and knowledge. Nothing can defeat me. I am the presence of God in action. Take a deep breath. Ooh, I can feel that. This crowd is alive with that. I can feel it. Feel that transformation. Feel that vibration. This is the vibration of awakening. We are here to wake up. We're here to wake ourselves up. And that's what we're going to be looking at this month through the power of spiritual understanding, which is our key to wake up, our key to awakening from illusion and error. You are God stuff. Just deal with it. I love you. Thank you.